Welcome to Green World. This is a short session, which we will be conducting quite a few over the course of this time period. But today's topic is work at height. Green World Group is very proud to present to you this safety-related topic. Now, work at height is a very major safety issue when we talk about work related to height. Most of the times we are resorted to working at height due to the severity of the job or its location. Now, this could be in construction, this could be in the industrial area, or it could be within a facility or a workshop. So the most important question we must ask ourselves is the work we're doing, is it truly safe? This is one of the images I've personally taken when I was conducting a few of my trainings on site. As you can see in this image, this man has created his own means of work, own temporary working platform. But the way this is done has a lot of issues that could be raised in terms of its safety. We don't have the operator present for the forklift, first of all. Then we have the pellets that is standing on top of the guardrail platform that he is working on. This isn't the proper engineering control that we would require to work at such a height. Again, we could utilize machines that are available in the market, like mobile elevated working platforms that are much safer. Or we can use a scaffolding, which would take longer to build, but it would still be a lot safer than this. The severity of this accident could result in a lot of fatalities and a lot of injuries. Not just that, but a lot of property damage as well. So let's talk about the fall statistics, first of all. Well, falls are the leading cause of death in construction industries, not just construction industries, but also when we're working at height, right? So most fatalities occur when employees fall from open slide floors or through floor openings. Now, the height of which a fall can occur does pose the impact of its severity. But here's the thing. If I were to ask you in terms of many detailed examples, which I will actually further ask you in detail, but I'll give you a scenario where we can discuss which would be better. But again, I'm going ahead of my time, but let's go on towards statistics more importantly. So if we take a look at the world scope of fall statistics, we have numerous amounts of people who have fell due to slips or falls that have been hospitalized that would require either medical assistance. And that around the world yearly is around 540,000 people. People that end up with permanent disabilities due to these injuries are around 300,000. And fatalities from slips and falls is around 25,000 a year. Now, where's our problem? We could provide trainings, yes, we could raise awareness, but it all starts within us. We, the employees, must understand the severity of working at height and the hazards that come with it, hazards as well as the risks. So again, if we just talk about fatalities from falls, we have done statistics over where we can categorize these. As you can see, the most amount of fatalities occur due to working from falling from rooftops, around 37%. Then comes the scaffolding, which is around 20%. And then working at ladders, either the quality of the ladder or the way the ladder is set up can result towards falling from that height. And then we talk about structural steels, which is around 9%, and so on. But let's define fall protection. What is fall, to be honest? A series of reasonable steps taken to eliminate or control the injuries injurious effects of the unintentional fall while assessing the work at height. Right? So to break it down in a way. But there are different types of falls that we must consider. Obviously, there's the fall at the same level within the surface that you might have fallen from. And then there is the fall to a lower level from a height, right? So these could result from either stairs, ladders, platforms, loading docks, and equipments, such as mobile elevated platforms or scaffolds, right? So here's the question that I was hinting upon that I wanted to ask you. If you were to stand on the table that is in front of you, I hope you have a table in front of you. Now, if you were to stand on that table and fall from it, all right, that's one scenario. And then if you were to stand on a rooftop and fall from it, which would hurt you a lot more, or which would be much more severe? A lot of people would say the rooftop. But here's the thing. If you are working at a rooftop, you know that there is a major risk involved in falling from it. So yet you will be well prepared, you will do the assessment, and you would probably manage your safety through it. But if you were to stand on your table, you wouldn't think that much from it. But here's the thing. The severity of the fall from the table is much higher than the severity of the fall from the height. Why so is because when you fall from that table, you probably land on your head, where if you have a very limited time to even realize that you're falling, and boom, the impact would occur. However, falling from the height, you would still have some time to realize that you are falling. There would be some self-awareness, and you would try to do something to prevent you to land on your head, right? So try falling on the side or try protecting your head while you're in mid-fall. So what I'm trying to suggest here is that despite what height we speak of, let it be just a little elevated height, there is still the possibility of falling. So we must consider the risk of falling at any height that we work at. But if we go towards the anatomy of fall, within let's say 0.33 seconds, you can fall within 2 feet, right? And then you can fall 7 feet within 0.67 seconds. So within a second, you're falling 16 feet. Now, obviously, this varies due to your own physical weight, but that's pretty fast, right? The gravity really takes us quite fast. So where's our sense of awareness? I mean, obviously, our brain functions very fast, and we can react accordingly, but this is pretty fast, right? So again, the height really does play a huge factor in terms of the impact of the severity of it. But we must not forget that there is always going to be a possibility of falling from a height. And we should plan accordingly. Always assess. Always ask if you're going to get up there and work, but how will you come down in terms of an emergency, or if you do fall, right? These are questions that you must constantly ask whenever you're working at a height, so that you can be more proactive in terms of reacting towards the incident. Now, let's quickly talk about fall protection and the systems towards it. So whenever you're assessing any sort of work, we must always follow the hierarchy of controls. In the fall protection aspect, we must follow the same line of control. However, here we're just going to add up a few more things. First thing is to eliminate the risk altogether, but in most cases you can't. But here, if you have to work at a height, well, first of all, try eliminating the factor of working from a height, right? So try doing the job from the ground, right? As you can see. And then if you are resorted to working at height and there's no other way, try creating a passive fall protection, like a guardrail system around the edges. Can't do that, don't have the right place for that, or don't have probably the controls for that, then try implementing fall restraint lanyards, which would prevent you from falling in the first place. So you can work as close to the edge without the risk of going beyond. That doesn't work, then you go on to the fourth step, which is fall arrest system. That could be an extended lanyard, or it could be a retractable lanyard or shock absorbing lanyard. And finally, the administrative control, which means limitize the people who are not authorized to be there, right? So only trained individuals who are competent enough to work at that height, right? So moving on towards the fall protection system, we will in depth talk about the full body harness and its different features. Then the guardrail system, as well as now the guardrail system is an engineering control to cover up openings within the floor. And then another control system would be a safety net, right? Now, talking about a full body harness, yes, we've seen how the full body harness really looks like, but the main thing I would like to talk to you about would be the D-ring, which is found in the back. This is the connection point between your harness and your lanyard to where you will anchor yourself with. Now, how tight the strap should be, you can take one of our in detail classes, and I can discuss that with you exactly the right amount of tightness, and not only that, but with the actual practical with it. Now, different parts of the full body harness, as you can see on your screen, there are lanyards, there's a full body harness that goes onto your body. Most of the full body harness today are very similar, actually the same mostly, but the difference comes through the lanyards. There's a variety of lanyards depending on your specification of job or task, right? And then we have beam straps, we have carabiners, we have positionings, as well as road grabs, which we will also talk in detail about, right? So minimizing the free fall distance, we have to keep in consideration what our height factor is, and how much, if we're using a lanyard that does extend and allows you a grace period for a fall distance, we must keep in consideration that what our lanyard can extend to and what our height target is, right? For that, never to forget that the anchor point must be always above your head height, right? So you can utilize the safe distance as much as possible from it. So here's a little more on the calculation of this, which I've just explained to you. So we'll just go over this very quickly. Consideration of 6 feet length, we must have at least a 3 feet safety factor so that it's that far away from the ground, right? Now, even though the full body harness is a great measure, a great personal protective equipment, however, there are risks involved where if a worker does fall and he has been suspended in air because of the full body harness that he's wearing, there's only a limitation of around 15 to 20 minutes where he can survive. This usually happens because of the lack of blood flow that circulates through the body because of the pressure that builds up between the legs because of the straps. Now, whenever we're working at height, we also should majorly consider that if this individual does fall, what is our emergency response? Obviously, our emergency response should be within less than 15 minutes so that we can bring this individual down to safety as quickly as possible to prevent this from happening. Because if this blood flow gets cut off due to the pressure applied by the D-ring as well as the lanyard behind him, then the brain shuts off because of the lack of blood circulation. And this can happen within 20 or less minutes. So we must react as quickly as possible. So let's talk quickly about different types of measures, control measures, such as safety line anchorage, right? Now, this weighs a certain amount, and there's a reason why we must consider the amount of weight that these can support. For instance, here, this is 5,000 pounds per worker. Before I get into that, let's talk about different types of anchor points where these could be tailor-made to your job, or they're readily available in the market. You could have these mounted into the foundation so that it stays strong and provides you with that anchor point that you require. Right? So horizontal lifelines, these are great for walking at height, maybe on support beams where you don't have anything to hold on to. This will give you that support for more maneuverability. And here's what I was talking to you about in terms of their weight. So if you can notice, the degree of sag that you will get depending on their weight is a major issue. So if you have a horizontal lanyard, horizontal lifeline that is weighing at 72,000 pounds, you'll have a degree of swag around 2 degrees, which is very safe in terms of not swagging that much, meaning you have a safe zone there. But if you have something that is 5,000 pounds, you have around 30 degrees of an angle of a sag. So there's a lot of leeway here that you can consider in terms of what's below or how far away from the ground you are. And also plan accordingly in terms of your rescuing procedures. Now, here's a little something about grab ropes, rope grabs, so to say. So yes, this does allow the worker to move up a vertical lifeline, but automatically engages the lock on the lifeline if the worker falls. Right? However, there are disadvantages to that. So if the worker does swing, he could swing into a wall or another obstacle, which could increase the severity of this drag. All right, so we'll move forward. Now, again, more lanyard types that we want to talk about in consideration. So we have a single hook lanyard, we have double hook lanyards, we have retractable lanyards, right? These are all connections that you should consider when you are doing a very task-specific job. Again, there's many options out there in the market, but you must always choose one that suits your activities or your work appropriately. Right? So there's retractable lifelines where it will decelerate depending on your severity of your fall, or maybe a certain pull, and then it could retract as soon as closer you get to it. All right. Then we have the fall restraint lanyard, which prevents you from falling altogether and limitizes your movement towards the edge. You don't go beyond that, right? As you can see in these images, we have support cables that it can be connected to, or horizontal lifelines that it can be connected to. This is a major consideration. We must always compare and contrast between these fall restraint lanyard and fall arrest. Now, the fall restraint lanyard prevents you from falling altogether, limitizes you from that edge. Then comes the fall arrest lanyard, which allows you to fall and then stops you and holds you. Now, the reason why this needs to be differentiated is because of the line of work that you perform. So if you were to work on, let's say, a mobile elevated working platform, such as mutes, you would prefer to wear a fall restraint lanyard. The reasoning is because if there is a boom flex while you're working due to your certain rush movements or because of other reasons, then there's a limited leniency on your lanyard, which would prevent you from falling out of the basket altogether. However, if you put on a fall arrest system lanyard, which allows you to fall, then you'd be suspended outside of the basket, and you would require immediate rescue. So which one's better, right? So when we're talking about mobile elevated working platforms, it's preferred to wear a fall restraint lanyard because it makes more sense that way. But all of this comes down to good work practices, right? We must perform, if possible, try eliminating the risk altogether by performing the job on the ground. For example, if you were to make roof fabrications, try building it on the ground and then airlifting it to put it in place by a crane, right? When you're working around edges, which I've already told you about, try having an engineering control around it, having a guardrail system. Right? And now design accordingly to what the job is really specific to. Right? But training is where it all comes down to, and we here at Green World will provide you with that in detail. Obviously, this is a very short intro that we wanted to let you guys in on, but when you decide to take our course with us with full body protection, we will train you in terms of how to recognize hazards to task specific areas such as scaffoldings, steelwork, buildings, ladders. Not only that, but also mobile elevated working platforms and so on. And then how to minimize those in those task-specific areas. But the trainings will also do cover fall hazards, fall protection systems, and the use of fall protection devices, not just theoretically, but also practically. And we will be able to provide you with that. So we at Green World are very proud and happy that you took the time to attend this. And we look forward to hearing from you guys. This is Fasik A Ahmed signing off. Thank you very much.